Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the really quite cold weather we're going to be seeing over the course of this week. The weather is deteriorating at the moment and it's going to be turning much colder from the north starting around tomorrow evening, i.e. Tuesday evening, spreading all the way through the country, and by early hours of Thursday we could see quite a large area of snow potentially tracking down southwards, and we could be seeing falling snow pretty much anywhere really. There's going to be a lot of convective showers around, and I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of people watching this actually do see some falling snow over the next sort of 5 days. Accumulating snow is going to be very difficult to get, of course, end of March, early April, very strong sunshine. The soil surface temperatures are much above freezing now, so it's going to be difficult. But we could be still be seeing some very wintry conditions later this week. So we'll have a look in detail for all the models and what they're showing today, as well as sort of the longevity of this colder spell. How long are we going to be seeing these colder upper air temperatures in and around the UK? So remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So do start on the live radar. You can see how things are starting to deteriorate a little bit. Some areas still have some sunshine, still getting up towards the mid-teens, especially further south and westwards. But under thicker cloud, we do have some showery outbreaks across northern England and across the far south as well. Some drizzly light rain there, just as things starting to become a bit more unsettled. And you look to our far north, you can see that real cold, unsettled air mass is now starting to affect Norway with convective showers. And it's out of radar range, but out within this is the centre of that low that is plunging southwards towards the UK over the next sort of 2 or 3 days, bringing much, much colder conditions. So do you run through the UK Met Office run before we have a look at the GFS run. So this is probably the most highly regarded model, or at least the most highly regarded model that, in my opinion. Sometimes it does underdo the precipitation a little bit in terms of widespread, but it normally gets sort of the core of the heavier precipitation quite good, which is important in these sort of scenarios, because any meaningful snow is only really going to be within the heaviest precipitation. So do run it through. You can see the showery outbreaks today. They will fade over the course of this evening. Could be more persistent rain pushing into the south, but the general flow is moving north to south, so it should sort of fade away over the course of the morning into tomorrow afternoon, and you can start to see that colder air mass push in with a little bit clearer skies, with pop-up clouds and showers. That's that much colder air mass spreading through, and you can start to see through Tuesday evening precipitation, wintry showers pushing in, and you can see this big weather front, which is the dividing line between the milder air to the south and the bitterly cold air, move southwards, and within that we could see some heavier precipitation through Wednesday into early hours of Thursday. As we'll see in a minute, some of the other models are making more of this precipitation as snow and making it more widespread, but you can see it peps up quite a bit across central southern England. Then we do see a bit of snow perhaps through southern Wales, and a lot of wintry showers, especially in the north and the east. You can see through Thursday they could come widespread, especially quite far inland. So this is why I say all areas could be seeing some falling snow over the next couple of days. And by the end of Thursday, things clear up a little bit. Wintry showers confine more to the east through Friday, and we potentially see another little system move through early hours of Saturday, bringing more persistent wintriness perhaps in from the north. And if we do have a look at those 850 HPA temperatures, you can see it plunging southwards through Tuesday afternoon into the evening, -8, -9, -10 degrees at 850 HPA, spreading all the way through the country, turning things bitterly cold before eventually things start to decrease for early hours of Saturday, but still looking really, really quite cold. And if we do have a look at those max temperatures, early this morning, pretty chilly in many areas with clearer skies, but we have a cloud stayed in sort of mid to high single digits. This afternoon, some areas still getting up towards 14, 15, maybe 16, 17 degrees, but areas with cloud and that precipitation around quite a bit colder. Tomorrow you can start to see that cold air really pushing in from the north. You can see by the afternoon across northern Scotland only 2, 3, 4 degrees colder than that across the mountains and hills, but in the south 12, 13, 14 degrees. But as I said, by Wednesday, you can see early hours of Wednesday, bitterly cold in the north, widely below freezing, and those temperatures are plummeting in the south. Highest temperatures likely to be early in the morning, because by sort of 3 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon, the UK Met Office run is showing 3 or 4 degrees widely across the Midlands into central southern England. Maybe 10 or 11 degrees, of course, the far south coast, but by the evening, temperatures are plummeting widely below freezing. And Thursday afternoon, perhaps 4 to maybe 7 degree highs, feeling much colder in the northeasterly wind, and wherever we have precipitation, it will be held down significantly as well. And you can see early hours of Friday, bitterly cold once again, widely below freezing. Friday afternoon again, 6, 7, 8 degrees, cold in that under precipitation, and through early hours of Saturday, widely a few degrees below freezing once again. As I said, we could even get to double digits below freezing in a few spots, maybe minus 10 degrees is possible. So if we do have a look at the sort of the big scale, have a look at the GFS run, you can see this big low pressure system that is now over Scandinavia, that is plunging southwards with blocking over towards Greenland. Bitterly cold northerly wind comes in, and you can see northeasterly wind through Thursday and Friday, bitterly cold, and that high pressure does topple within the colder air mass, and it does turn things really, really quite cold, but more settled, so more of just frosts and chillier conditions. Beyond that, though, the high pressure does topple. We go more of a westerly flow, but that high pressure is still towards towards Greenland, and we still have bits of northerly flows moving in, but more of a west to southwesterly flow does sort of prevail. As we'll see with the other runs in a minute, they perhaps are holding on to this colder air for a little bit longer. So do run it back and have a look at the exact upper air temperatures. Now you can see bitterly cold northeasterly wind pushing in, and eventually does sort of subside with a bit more of a westerly flow before we see again another colder northerly flow move in, potentially in sort of 10 days time, before again eventually we go back to more towards a south to westerly flow, turning things a little bit milder. And if we do have a look at the temperature deviation when that bitterly cold air comes in, you can see widely 6 to 8 degrees below average, and you can see again with that secondary northerly plunge once again 4 to 6 degrees below average. Really, really quite cold. So do have a look at the precipitation from that GFS run. GFS sometimes overdoes precipitation, I must stress that a little bit, but it does again generally show where precipitation is likely. So you can see wintry showers starting to back into the north through through sort of Tuesday afternoon. Through Wednesday, you see heavy precipitation plunging southwards, and you can see through early hours of Thursday, heavy precipitation along central England into central southern England as well. UK Met Office run not showing that as much, and real heavy snow potentially there, lasting most of the day. Could be seeing accumulations with that as well, and eventually does clear, and we just see loads of wintry showers packing in from the west. Of course, overdoing those wintry showers a little bit, they won't be this widespread, or at least that's big in size, but they will be in those broad areas, and eventually you can see things turning a little bit more unsettled as high pressure topples before we see more of a westerly flow, of course. So we do have a look at the GM run, see how that does compare. Again, that northeasterly flow pushing in, bitterly cold, but that high pressure hanging on over Greenland in the North Atlantic, keeping us in a northerly flow. We sort of see reinforcements with another northerly wind at day 10, and we're not really ever getting out of that colder air mass. So we do run it back and have a look at the upper air temperatures. You'll see we stay in this cold air mass for pretty much the whole of the run, bitterly cold by the end of this week, stay in that sort of -5 air, maybe get a brief glance of a bit milder air before we get plunged back into bitterly cold air from the north, just a direct northerly plunge. And you can see, if you look all the way along our latitudes, we're one of the coldest places really, apart from perhaps sort of Russia, with this northerly plunge, completely opposite to really what we've been in the winter. We've been one of the mildest at our latitude over the course of the winter, but we're now looking like we're going to be one of the coldest. So of course, it's going to come in early April, of course. And you can see bitterly cold, 4 to 6, maybe 8 degrees below average, around average to slightly above average for a day or two, and then plunge back much colder at day 10. So prolonging this cold spell for a good 10 days on this latest GM run. Very, very interesting seeing that. And if we do similarly have a look at its precipitation, Again, the wintry showers in pink start to come in through Tuesday afternoon, spread southwards, and then we see that precipitation pep up again through early hours of Thursday. Really quite interesting seeing both the GFS and GM going for it, and not seeing really at all on the UK Met Office run in terms of this widespread and this intense. And lasting once again throughout the day, mainly over the higher ground and inland towards the coast will be difficult, but could be seeing accumulations with this, and beyond that, seeing more precipitation pushing in potentially in the west, and a lot of wintry showers packing in. Not showing too much in terms of dry weather, as I said, because the high pressure stays blocking out in the Atlantic instead of coming further inland. And it means we stay quite unsettled with wintry showers, especially in the north, and spreading further southwards whenever we get that colder air mass is really pushing through. So we do finish up with a longer range by having a look at the ECMWF. Again, northeasterly flow, high pressure hanging on, and again, not fully toppling, and we see another northerly flow towards the end of the run. Not quite as sustained as the GM in terms of blocking, but still in a generally north to northwesterly flow by day 10. Really, really quite cold with this blocking remaining over the top and to the north and west. And if we do run it back and have a look at the 850 HPA temperatures, again, northerly flow, bitterly cold air mass moving in. Temporary little lull before we see another colder air mass starting to plunge in from the north, perhaps keeping the coldest air just to our north, maybe across Scotland and the south, getting spared a little bit there, but still would be pretty chilly with a general airflow coming in from the north. So yeah, not looking good next couple of weeks. If you have enjoyed the sunny, warm weather we've had recently, it's not going to be like that at all over the next couple of weeks, regardless of what run we look at. Even the GFS, which is slightly milder than the other runs, it is still very unsettled and chilly with a generally west-northwesterly flow. So we do finish the video by having a look at the ensemble, see what they're showing today, and you can see mild at the moment, but considerable drop over the next 48 hours before we're bitterly cold, and that coincides with that heavier precipitation, and that could fall as snow. Could fall. Maybe not accumulate though. I must stress, accumulation is very, very difficult to forecast at the best of times, even when it's very marginal like this, and of course into early April as well. Very cold for a good 3 or 4 days before we slowly rise. You see, the operational one, as I said, is a bit faster in terms of its rising. So the control run stays much colder, but you can see the majority do return to around average right around the 5th to 7th of April. So it's going to turn milder, but could take a good 7 days perhaps to get back towards average, and then generally you're around maybe slightly above average. Very unsettled as well, so it looks likely, regardless of what happens with the longevity of this colder spell, it's going to be unsettled and chilly in the longer term. If we do have a look at the new snow depth, just for interest, you can see significant snow depth spikes in around the 31st to the 1st of April. This is no April Fools. It is looking likely we will see some falling snow for some, quite widely perhaps, across central areas, especially over higher ground, but perhaps not exclusively, and we could see some significant accumulations perhaps over the highest ground. Again, it's possible to low-lying areas, but it's just way too difficult to forecast. It depends on exact surface temperatures, intensity as well. The higher the intensity, the more rapid the ground cools, and the more likely you are to see settling. If it falls overnight when temperatures are lowest, again that helps, but if it falls at 7, 8, 9 a.m. when the sun starts to rise, then, it is more difficult. So all time dependent exact conditions, so it's very, very difficult to say for certain. If you have a look at the 2 meter temperatures, you can also see really quite cold, dropping down considerably, maybe only 10, 11 degrees over the next couple of days, and by Thursday, widely 4 or 5 degrees, perhaps rising a little bit milder through Friday and Saturday to Sunday, but still well below 10 degrees, perhaps only 7, 8 degrees, and that is, if we're lucky, if we do see a bit of sunshine, it will feel colder than that with the easterly wind, and whenever we see showers, it will drop those temperatures considerably. It's likely we'll see some images over Twitter of temperatures at 7, 8 degrees. As soon as a wintry shower passes by, temperatures drop to 2 or 3 degrees. It's likely we see stuff like that over the next couple of days. So very much up and down temperatures, all depending on the cloud amounts and where we see any precipitation as well. So we finish up just by having a look at the ECMWF run, or the ensembles, just to compare. Mild at the moment, drops considerably below average by Thursday. Wednesday for more northern areas, but Thursday widely, and then we stay well cold all the way to around 3rd, 4th of April before it starts to return to average between the 5th and the 7th. Some are staying pretty chilly, others are going more around average, and it looks like average is going to be the sort of the lay of the land, but with precipitation quite high, it's going to feel chilly, it's not going to feel great, and it's going to feel, pretty cold out there, I must say. So even with warmer upper air temperatures and with a lot of precipitation around, it's not going to feel great. So it doesn't look like we're in for a great next couple of weeks if you, as I said, enjoyed the warmer weather. So could be some considerable snow around for some proper wintry conditions. It's not going to be anything like any proper wintry conditions we could see in sort of December to February time, but it will be a real mix-up compared to the sort of high teens, 20 degrees we've had over the last sort of 2 weeks. It's going to be a real big mix-up, and I hope everyone out there dresses appropriately and does stay safe, because there could be some wintry hazards. Ice, frost, and even snow could be a hazard over the next week. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you stay safe out there, and I'll see you again for another video soon.